June followed Mina through dark passages that weren't on any of the expedition's maps. She moved with complete confidence, never hesitating at forks in the path or stopping to check directions. It was as if she had lived in these caves her whole life. "How do you know these caves so well?" June asked as they climbed through a narrow tunnel. "I have been here for a very long time," Mina replied. She didn't explain further, and June felt too strange to push for more answers. His body tingled all over, and sometimes his vision would suddenly sharpen, letting him see perfectly in the darkness without his headlamp. They walked for hours, moving steadily upward. Mina explained more about what had happened to him. "The water you drank contained nanites, tiny machines smaller than a cell," she said. "They were created by beings who called themselves the architects. They visited Earth thousands of years ago and left these pools as gifts." "Gifts for what purpose?" June asked. "To help humanity evolve," Mina said. "The architects visit many worlds. When they find intelligent life with potential, they leave tools to help that life grow. The nanites bond with your cells and enhance your body and mind." June stopped walking. "Are you saying aliens left super technology in a cave and I just happened to drink it?" Mina turned to face him. In the dim light, her eyes seemed to glow slightly. "Not by chance. The pool calls to those who might use its gift wisely, but you found it earlier than intended. Humanity isn't quite ready yet." "Ready for what?" "To join the wider community of intelligent life," Mina said simply, as if discussing the weather. "Come, we should keep moving. Your friends will be worried." As they continued walking, June noticed more changes. Sounds became clearer and louder. He could hear water dripping far away and even the soft sound of Mina's heartbeat. Smells became stronger too. The cave had a complex scent he had never noticed before. Minerals, water, tiny organisms living in the dark. "What else will happen to me?" he asked. "Your senses will continue to sharpen," Mina said. "You will become stronger and faster. Injuries will heal quickly. Your mind will process information more efficiently. But these are just the physical changes. There's more." Mina nodded. "The nanites connect you to networks you cannot yet perceive. In time, you will understand." After several more hours of walking, June began to hear faint voices ahead. They sounded familiar. "My team," he said. "I can hear them. They're looking for me." Mina put a hand on his arm. "This is where we must be careful. Your transformation has just begun. If they take you to a hospital or research facility, people might discover what's happening to you. That would put you in danger." "From who?" "From those who would want this power for themselves," Mina said. "Powerful people who would study you, try to take the nanites from your body, or use you as a weapon." June frowned. "That sounds paranoid, is it?" Mina raised an eyebrow. "Think about your world's history. What happens when one group gains a significant advantage over others?" June couldn't argue with that. Throughout human history, technological advantages had often led to domination and exploitation. "So what do?" he asked. "We get you back to your team, but we hide what's happening to you," Mina said. "Act weak and confused. Say you were lost and found your way by luck. Don't mention me or the pool. And then I will find you in the city and we will continue your training." The voices grew louder. June could now make out individual words. They were calling his name. Mina stepped back into the shadows of a side passage. "Go to them. Remember what I said. I will find you." Before June could respond, she was gone, moving silently into the darkness. He took a deep breath and called out to his team. "Hello, I'm here. Can anyone hear me?" There was a moment of silence, then excited shouts. Flashlight beams cut through the passage ahead, and soon Professor Kang and Dr. Park rushed toward him, followed by the rest of the team. "June, thank goodness." Professor Kang grabbed him in a tight hug. "We thought we'd lost you." "Are you hurt?" Dr. Park asked, already checking him for injuries. June remembered Mina's advice and slumped a little, making himself look tired and weak. "I'm okay," he said. "Just exhausted and thirsty. I got lost after the cave-in and wandered for hours." They gave him water and food from their packs. The regular water tasted flat and lifeless compared to what he had drunk from the pool, but he pretended to be grateful for it. "We need to get him to a hospital," Dr. Park said. "He might be dehydrated or have internal injuries we can't see." "No," June said too quickly. Everyone looked at him with surprise. He softened his tone. "I mean, I'm fine, really. I just need rest. No need for hospitals." Professor Kang studied him with curious eyes but didn't push the issue. "Let's get back to camp first, then decide." The team helped June walk, though he didn't really need the assistance. He pretended to be weaker than he felt, stumbling occasionally and leaning on Professor Kang's shoulder. All the while, his enhanced senses were almost overwhelming. He could hear the heartbeats of everyone around him, smell their sweat and the food in their backpacks, see details in the dim cave that should have been invisible. By the time they reached the camp outside the cave system, night had fallen. June sat by the fire, wrapped in a blanket someone had given him, and tried to look tired instead of energized. Inside, he felt like he could run a marathon. "You should try to sleep," Professor Kang said, sitting next to him. "We'll head back to the city tomorrow." June nodded, but when everyone else had gone to their tents, he stayed by the dying fire, looking up at the stars. They seemed brighter and more numerous than he had ever seen them before. He wondered if one of them was the home of the architects who had created the nanites now flowing through his body. "What am I becoming?" he whispered to the night sky. There was no answer, but he hadn't expected one. The next morning, the team packed up camp and began the hike back to where their vehicles were parked. June found it difficult to maintain his act of being weak and tired. Every step felt light, every breath deep and satisfying. His body hummed with energy. As they drove back toward Seoul, June's enhanced senses began to cause problems. The engine noise was painfully loud. The smell of gas and exhaust made him nauseous. The motion of the car seemed exaggerated, making him dizzy. By the time they reached the outskirts of the city, June was genuinely suffering. The noise of millions of people, cars, machines, and electronics hit him like a physical blow. He could hear conversations from buildings they passed, feel the electromagnetic fields from power lines and cell phones, smell thousands of different scents all mixed together. "Are you all right?" Professor Kang asked, noticing how June pressed his hands over his ears and squeezed his eyes shut. "Headache," June managed to say. It wasn't a lie. His head felt like it might explode from all the input. They dropped him at his small apartment near the university. June barely managed to thank them and promised to come to the lab tomorrow before stumbling inside and locking the door. Once alone, he collapsed on the floor, overwhelmed by his enhanced senses. "Help," he whispered, not really expecting an answer. "Focus on my voice," came a soft reply. June looked up to see Mina sitting calmly on his couch. He hadn't heard her enter, which seemed impossible given his new hearing abilities. "How did you—" "That's not important now," she said. "You need to learn to filter the input from your senses. Close your eyes." June did as she instructed. "Now imagine each sense as a dial," Mina said. "You can turn it down when it's too much. Picture your hearing dial and slowly turn it down." June concentrated, visualizing a control panel with dials for each sense. Amazingly, when he mentally turned down the hearing dial, the overwhelming noise of the city faded to a manageable level. "It worked," he said, opening his eyes. "Of course it did," Mina replied. "The nanites respond to your thoughts. Now do the same for your other senses." For the next hour, Mina taught him how to control his enhanced senses. By the end, June felt much better. The world was still incredibly detailed and information-rich, but no longer overwhelming. "Thank you," he said. "I don't know what I would have done without your help." Mina nodded, accepting his thanks. She walked to his window and looked out at the city. "Your world has changed much since I first came here," she said, almost to herself. "How long have you been here?" June asked. Mina turned to face him. "Longer than you might believe. I was created to watch over the pool and guide the one who drank from it." "Created? What do you mean?" "I am not human," Mina said simply. "I am a synthetic being, made by the architects to serve as guardian and guide." June stared at her. She looked perfectly human to him, even with his enhanced senses. "You're some kind of robot?" Mina smiled. "Not as you understand the term. My body is biological, but it was designed rather than born. I was made to look human so I could blend in when necessary." June sat down heavily on his couch. "This is a lot to take in. You will adjust," Mina said. "Humans are remarkably adaptable. That's one reason the architects chose your species." "Chose for what?" "To eventually join them," Mina said. "The architects believe in helping promising species advance. The nanites you now carry are just one small step in that process." June ran his hands through his hair, trying to process everything. "So what happens now?" "Now we wait," Mina said. "Your body will continue to change over the next few days. I will help you adapt to each new ability." June wiped sweat from his forehead as he carefully moved through the narrow cave passage. The beam from his headlamp cut through the darkness, showing rough stone walls that no human had seen before. He was part of a small team exploring new caves in the mountains of South Korea. The air was cool and damp, with a strange smell that reminded him of wet earth and something else he couldn't name. "Keep up, June," Professor Kang called from ahead. The older man moved with surprising speed through the tight spaces, his excitement clear in every quick movement. Professor Kang had spent his whole life studying ancient stories about visitors from the stars who came to Earth long ago. Most other scientists laughed at his ideas, but June had always found them fascinating. "I'm coming, Professor," June called back. He was a graduate student who had joined this expedition because no one else would. His classmates thought Professor Kang was crazy, but June saw a brilliant mind that asked questions others were afraid to ask. The team of 5 people had been exploring for 3 days. They had found interesting rock formations and even some old cave paintings, but nothing that would prove Professor Kang's theories about ancient visitors. June could sense the growing disappointment in the professor's voice, even as he tried to stay positive. June squeezed through a tight spot in the passage and entered a larger chamber where the rest of the team was gathered. Their lights bounced off the walls, creating dancing shadows. "We should map this section and then head back toward the entrance," said Dr. Park, the team leader. "We're getting low on supplies," Professor Kang frowned. "Just one more passage. The readings from my device show something unusual further down." Dr. Park sighed. 2 hours, that's all. Then we turn back. The team split up to cover more ground. June followed Professor Kang toward a narrow crack in the far wall of the chamber. "This could be it, June," the professor whispered. "I can feel it." They had just started to squeeze through the crack when a low rumble filled the cave. Small rocks fell from the ceiling and dust filled the air. "Earthquake," someone shouted from behind them. June felt Professor Kang push him forward through the crack. "Go, it's safer ahead." The rumbling grew louder. Larger rocks began to fall. June scrambled through the narrow opening just as a crash sounded behind him. When he turned around, he saw that rocks had fallen, blocking the way back. "Professor Kang," he shouted, pressing his face to a small gap in the rock pile. "Are you okay?" "We're all fine," came the muffled reply. "The passage is blocked, but no one is hurt. We'll go back and find another way to reach you."
"Stay where you are!"
June's radio crackled. "June, can you hear me?" It was Dr. Park. "Yes, I hear you," June replied. "The rockfall is too unstable to clear right now. We need to go back to base camp for equipment. It might take a day to reach you. Do you have water and your emergency kit?" June checked his small backpack. "Yes, I have some water and energy bars. My light is working too." "Good, stay put and conserve your resources. We'll come for you as quickly as we can." The radio crackled again and went silent. June tried to call back but got no answer. He tried again several times, but the radio remained dead. The rock must be blocking the signal now. June sat down and tried to stay calm. He knew the team would come back for him. He just needed to wait. But after an hour, the silence and darkness started to weigh on him. His small light seemed too weak against the vast blackness of the cave. He stood up and shone his light around, looking for a comfortable place to wait. That's when he noticed a faint glow coming from deeper in the passage. It wasn't the white light of a headlamp. It was a soft blue color like nothing he had seen before in the cave. June hesitated. The team had told him to stay put, but his curiosity pulled at him. Maybe there was another way out. Or maybe it was something that would finally prove Professor Kang's theories. After another moment of thought, he decided to investigate, but just a short distance. He would mark his path so he could find his way back to this spot. He took a piece of chalk from his pack and marked the wall, then moved toward the blue glow. The passage twisted and turned, but the light grew stronger. June made a mark every few meters so he could find his way back. After walking for about 20 minutes, he came to another chamber, much larger than any they had seen before. The source of the blue light became clear. The walls were covered with strange symbols that glowed with a soft blue light. The symbols seemed to move when he didn't look directly at them, shifting and changing like living things. "Amazing," June whispered, his voice echoing in the large space. He took out his phone and tried to take pictures, but the camera couldn't seem to capture the glowing symbols properly. Each photo came out blurry or completely dark. In the center of the chamber was a small pool of water, perfectly round and about 1 meter across. The water glowed with the same blue light as the symbols on the walls. It looked clean and clear, unlike the muddy puddles they had seen elsewhere in the cave. June approached the pool slowly. The water didn't move at all, like a perfect mirror reflecting the cave ceiling. He knelt beside it and stared at his reflection. His face looked strange in the blue light, almost like someone else was looking back at him. Suddenly, June realized how thirsty he was. He had been so focused on exploring that he hadn't noticed his dry throat and parched lips. He reached for his water bottle only to find it almost empty. He had used most of it during the day's exploration. He looked back at the glowing pool. The water seemed to call to him. Something in his mind told him it was safe, that it was meant to be found. Without really thinking, he set down his nearly empty bottle, cupped his hands, and dipped them into the pool. The water felt cool and tingly against his skin. He raised his hands to his mouth and drank. The taste was incredible, sweet and refreshing like nothing he had ever experienced. It seemed to fill him with energy immediately. He dipped his hands again and drank more, suddenly feeling like this was the most important thing he had ever done. As he swallowed the last mouthful, a strange warmth spread through his body. His tiredness vanished. His mind felt clearer than it ever had before. He stood up feeling somehow different, though he couldn't explain exactly how. That's when he heard it, a soft voice from somewhere behind him. "You have no idea what you just became." June spun around, nearly losing his balance. In the entrance to the chamber stood a young woman. She wore strange clothes that looked both very old and somehow modern at the same time. Her dark hair was tied back and her eyes reflected the blue glow from the walls. "Who are you?" June asked, his voice shaking. "How did you get in here?" The woman stepped forward. Her movement was graceful, almost like she was floating. "My name is Mina," she said. "I am the guardian of this place. I have been waiting a very long time." "Waiting for what?" June asked. Mina smiled. "Not what. Who. I have been waiting for someone to find the pool and drink from it." "I have been waiting for you, June." June stepped back in shock. "How do you know my name?" "I know many things," Mina said. "I know that you just drank water filled with tiny machines that are now changing your body. I know that you will soon have abilities that no human has ever had before. And I know that both of us are now in great danger." June's head spun with questions. "Tiny machines? You mean like nanobots? That's not possible. The people who built this place were not from your world," Mina said. "They came from the stars thousands of years ago. They left these pools as gifts to be found when humanity was ready." She frowned. "But you found this one too soon." June was about to ask another question when a sharp pain shot through his body. He gasped and fell to his knees. It felt like his blood was on fire, burning him from the inside. "What's happening to me?" he groaned. Mina knelt beside him and placed a cool hand on his forehead. "The change has begun. Your body is being remade. It will hurt, but only for a little while. Then you will be more than you were." The pain grew stronger. June collapsed onto the stone floor. Through blurry eyes, he saw Mina watching him with a mixture of concern and interest. Then darkness took him and he knew nothing more. When June opened his eyes again, the cave looked different. Every detail of the stone walls was clear to him, even in the dim blue light. He could see tiny crystals in the rock that he hadn't noticed before. He sat up, surprised that he felt no pain. "Welcome back," Mina said. She sat nearby, watching him. "How long was I unconscious?" June asked. His voice sounded strange in his ears, like it had more depth. "A few hours," Mina replied. "The first stage is complete. How do you feel?" June stood up and was amazed at how easy it felt. His body seemed lighter somehow, more responsive. "I feel good," he said. "Better than good. What happened to me?" "What were those things in the water?" "The water contained nanites," Mina explained. "Very small machines that are now part of your body. They were created by the architects, the beings who visited Earth long ago. The architects left these gifts for humanity, but they were meant to be found when your people had advanced enough to understand them." June looked at his hands. They looked the same, but somehow he knew they were different now. "What will happen to me?" Mina stood up. "You will change more in the coming days. You will become something new, but first, we need to get you back to your world. Your friends are looking for you and they will be worried." "How do you know that?" "Jonas." 3 months passed. June sat on the roof of his new apartment building, watching the sun rise over Seoul. The city spread out below him like a living thing, and with his enhanced senses, he could truly see it that way. He could hear millions of heartbeats. feel the pulses of electricity through power lines, and sense the electromagnetic waves from cell phones and Wi-Fi networks. He had gotten much better at controlling his abilities. What had once been overwhelming was now simply part of how he experienced the world. He could focus his hearing to listen to conversations kilometers away, or dial it back to normal human levels when he wanted peace. He could see in complete darkness or zoom in on tiny details from great distances. His strength had increased to the point where he could bend metal with his bare hands, though he was careful to hide such abilities in public. Mina had been his constant guide through the transformation. She had helped him understand each new change and taught him to control his growing powers. They had moved 3 times in the past months, always staying one step ahead of those who might be looking for them, because someone was definitely looking. 2 weeks after his return from the cave, men in dark suits had come to his old apartment asking questions about his expedition. They claimed to be from the university, but June's enhanced senses detected their lies, their elevated heart rates, and the slight changes in their voices that humans couldn't normally hear. Mina had insisted they leave immediately, taking only what they could carry. Since then, June had been officially listed as missing. His family and friends had been told that he had suffered some kind of breakdown after his cave experience and had left the country. Only Professor Kang knew some of the truth, and even he didn't know everything. June heard light footsteps behind him and knew without looking that Mina had joined him on the roof. "Good morning," she said, sitting beside him. "Morning," he replied. "Any news?" Mina nodded. "I intercepted communications from Horizon again. They're getting closer. Their energy detectors are becoming more sensitive. We may need to move soon." Horizon was the organization hunting them. Through careful research and eavesdropping, they had learned that it was an international group dedicated to finding and controlling advanced technology and unusual phenomena. Somehow they had detected the energy signature of the nanites in June's body. "I'm tired of running," June said. "Maybe we should try a different approach." "Such as?" Mina raised an eyebrow. "I've been documenting everything about my transformation," June said. "The history you've shared with me about the architects, the changes in my body, all of it. Maybe we should make it public. Spread the information so widely that no one group can control it." Mina frowned. "That would be dangerous. Horizon would redouble their efforts to capture you. And the public might fear you. Or they might protect me," June countered. "If everyone knows what's happening, it would be harder for Horizon to make me disappear." Before Mina could respond, June tilted his head, listening to something far away. "Someone's coming," he said. 3 people walking up the stairs to this floor. Heavy footsteps, equipment jingling, weapons, I think." Mina was instantly alert. "Horizon, we need to leave. Now." They hurried down from the roof and back to their apartment. June grabbed their emergency bag while Mina erased all digital traces of their presence from the apartment's systems. They were about to leave through the back window when the door burst open. 3 people in tactical gear rushed in, holding strange devices that emitted a high-pitched whine. The sound made June's head hurt, interfering with his enhanced senses. "Target acquired," one of them said into a radio. 2 subjects, as predicted. June stepped in front of Mina. "Who are you people? What do you want?" The leader, a hard-faced man with a small scar above his right eye, looked at June with cold interest. "My name is Agent Han. We're with Horizon and you know exactly what we want." He gestured to the devices his team held. "These disruptors interfere with the nanite functions in your body. Don't try anything unusual." Mina moved to June's side. "Run," she whispered. Before Agent Han could react, Mina threw herself at the nearest agent. In the same moment, June felt a strange new ability awaken within him. Time seemed to slow down. He could see the paths of movement before people made them, predict exactly what was about to happen. One agent raised a weapon, some kind of dart gun. June moved with impossible speed, dodging the dart as it fired and grabbing the gun. He crushed it in his hand and pushed the agent back with just enough force to slam him against the wall without causing serious injury. The third agent activated another device that shot out a net made of thin glowing wires. June tried to dodge, but the net seemed to track his movements, wrapping around him. Where the wires touched his skin, he felt a burning sensation and a Strange numbness as the nanites in his body stopped responding. Mina had knocked down the first agent but now turned to help June. Agent Han intercepted her, moving with unusual speed himself. Too late, June realized that Han wasn't entirely normal either. "You're not the only one with enhancements," Han said, seeing June's realization. "We've learned a few tricks from previous subjects." Mina fought with incredible skill and strength, but Han matched her move for move. Meanwhile, June struggled with the energy net, trying to break free. The more he fought, the tighter it became. "Stop fighting," Han called to them both. "We don't want to hurt you. We want to understand what's happened to you, to study the technology." "So we can be your lab rats?" June snapped. "So humanity can benefit from this discovery," Han replied. "Think of the medical applications alone. Cures for diseases, extended lifespans, enhanced abilities for those who need them." "That's not what you really want," Mina said, still circling Han warily. "You want weapons. Soldiers with enhanced abilities. Control over power no human should have yet." Han shrugged. "There are military applications, yes, but that's the nature of progress. Every new technology has multiple uses." While they talked, June focused on the nanites in his body. Though partially, suppressed by the energy net, he could still feel them. Mina had taught him that they responded to his thoughts and intentions. Now he concentrated, visualizing them attacking the energy in the net, disrupting its pattern. To his surprise, it worked. The net's glow flickered and dimmed. Taking advantage of the moment, June flexed with all his strength. The weakened net tore apart. Seeing this, Agent Han reached for his sidearm. Mina used the distraction to strike, landing a powerful kick that sent Han flying across the room. He crashed into the wall but rolled back to his feet with inhuman quickness. "We need to go," Mina shouted. June looked at the window, then at the agents regrouping for another attack. Making a split-second decision, he grabbed Mina around the waist and jumped through the window, shattering the glass. They fell 4 stories, but June's enhanced body easily absorbed the impact. He set Mina down and they ran. Behind them, Han appeared at the broken window. "This isn't over," he shouted. "We'll find you again." June and Mina ran through back alleys, using June's senses to avoid pursuit. After nearly an hour of evasive movement, they finally stopped in an abandoned building far from their apartment. "Are you hurt?" Mina asked, examining the marks on June's skin where the energy net had burned him. "I'll heal," he said. The burns were already fading as the nanites repaired the damage. But one of their weapons did something to me. It disrupted the nanites somehow. Mina nodded grimly. "They've been studying this technology. That man, Han, did you notice he was enhanced?" "Yes," June said. "Not like me, but definitely faster and stronger than a normal human. How is that possible?" "They must have captured someone with nanite enhancement before," Mina said. "Or found another pool. Either way, they know more than we thought." June slid down the wall to sit on the dusty floor. "He was wounded," he said. "I could sense it. Not physically, but the nanites in his body were unstable, breaking down. Whatever they did to enhance him, it wasn't done properly. The architects designed the pools to transform compatible individuals safely," Mina said. "Trying to extract and use the nanites in other ways would be dangerous and unpredictable." They sat in silence for a while, both lost in thought. Finally, June spoke. "We need help," he said. "We can't keep running forever, and if Horizon is already experimenting with this technology, we need to stop them before they hurt more people." "Who would help us?" Mina asked. "Who would believe us? And who could stand against an organization like Horizon?" June thought for a moment, then smiled slightly. "I know someone who has believed in visitors from the stars his whole life. Someone who might actually be happy to learn he was right all along." "Professor Kang," Mina said, understanding immediately. "Yes. He has resources, contacts in the scientific community. If anyone would help us, it's him." Mina seemed uncertain. "It's risky. Horizon might be watching him, knowing your connection." "It's a risk we have to take," June said. "We need allies, Mina. I'm tired of running and hiding. It's time to fight back. After a long moment, Mina nodded. Very well. But we approach carefully. No direct contact until we're sure it's safe. They spent the night in the abandoned building, taking turns keeping watch. In the morning, they began making plans to contact Professor Kang safely. June used a public computer to send an encrypted message to a private email address. The tunnel led them to a small garage where an unmarked van waited. Tay had prepared it as an escape vehicle, complete with false identification papers and emergency supplies. June, Mina, Dr. Sunwoo, and Hana piled in, still shaken by the attack on the lab and the fate of Professor Kang. Where do we go? Dr. Sunwoo asked as she started the engine. June closed his eyes, concentrating on the new awareness the amplifier had awakened in him. In his mind, he could see a map of energy patterns, ley lines, Professor Kang had called them, crisscrossing the country. At certain points, the lines intersected, creating nodes of power. One such node glowed brighter than the others in his mental vision. The mountains, he said, opening his eyes. The original cave system where I found the pool. We need to go back there. Why? Hana asked. Wouldn't that be the first place Horizon would look? Yes, Mina answered for him, which is why they've likely already searched it and moved on. But more importantly, the pool is a direct connection to the Architect's network. If June is to complete his transformation, that's where it must happen. Dr. Sunwoo nodded and pulled the van onto the street, heading out of the city. They drove in tense silence, everyone watching for signs of pursuit. June's enhanced senses gave them an advantage. He could detect vehicles following them from far away, allowing Dr. Sunwoo to take evasive routes as they drove. June examined the portable drive Professor Kang had given him. Using a laptop, he explored the files, detailed analyses of his transformation, theories about the architects, and maps of possible locations of other pools around the world. He was more prepared than I realized, June said softly. He'd been researching this his whole life, just waiting for proof. Hana put a hand on his shoulder. He believed in you, June. He believed what was happening to you was important for all humanity. The journey to the mountains took several hours. They abandoned the van in a small town and continued on foot, hiking through forest paths to avoid main roads where Horizon might be watching. As they walked, June felt the nanites in his body becoming more active, as if they sensed they were returning to their source. Something's changing, he told Mina as they hiked. I feel more connected to the nanites now, like I can direct them consciously. Mina nodded. The amplifier accelerated your integration. You're entering the final stage of transformation. Soon you'll be able to communicate directly with the Architect network. And then what happens? June asked. It was a question he'd been afraid to voice before. Mina looked at him with those ancient, knowing eyes. Then you become what you were meant to be. A bridge between humanity and the Architects. A voice for both worlds. By nightfall, they reached the base of the mountain where the cave system was located. They set up camp in a hidden valley, planning to approach the cave entrance at dawn. As the others slept, June sat awake, watching the stars and feeling the nanites pulse within him in rhythm with some distant cosmic beat. Mina sat beside him. You should rest, she said. Tomorrow will require all your strength. I keep thinking about Professor Kang, June replied, about what Horizon might have done to him. He knew the risks, Mina said gently. He chose to face them so that you could continue. June nodded, but the weight of guilt remained heavy on his shoulders. If I had never gone into that cave, never drunk from that pool, he would still be alive. Perhaps, Mina acknowledged. But then humanity would remain isolated, unaware of the greater community waiting among the stars. Every great change requires sacrifice, June. The question is whether the change is worth the cost. And is it? June asked. Is what I'm becoming worth the lives that have been lost? Mina was silent for a long moment. That is not for me to decide, she finally said. I was created to guide, not to judge. The Architects believe in the potential of your species. They see in humans a creativity and adaptability that could bring new perspectives to the galactic community, but ultimately, it will be humans who decide if this gift was worth the price. Before dawn, they were awakened by the sound of helicopters in the distance. June focused his enhanced hearing and detected radio communications, Horizon agents, at least 2 teams, approaching the mountain from different directions. They've found us, he told the others as they hurriedly packed up camp. We need to move fast. They raced up the mountain, taking hidden paths that June remembered from his previous expedition. The helicopters grew louder, and soon they could hear vehicles on the mountain roads as well. Horizon was bringing in significant forces to capture them. They must know what's happening, Dr. Sunwoo said as they paused to catch their breath. They must understand that you're about to complete the transformation. June nodded grimly. Which means they'll do anything to stop it or control it. They reached the cave entrance by mid-morning. It was unguarded, but June could sense electronic devices inside, cameras and sensors that Horizon had installed during their previous search of the cave. They're monitoring the cave, he said. They'll know as soon as we enter. Then we have no choice but to move quickly, Mina replied. Once inside, we make directly for the chamber with the pool. No detours, no hesitation. June looked at Dr. Sunwoo and Hana. You two should stay outside. Create a diversion. Draw their attention away from the cave entrance for as long as possible. Dr. Sunwoo shook her head. I'm coming with you. I need to document the transformation, continue Professor Kang's work. I'll create the diversion, Hana volunteered. I know how to stay hidden, how to lead them away. June wanted to argue to keep them all safe, but there was no time. He could hear vehicles approaching their position. Be careful, he told Hana. Don't take unnecessary risks. She gave him a quick hug. Become what you're meant to be, June. The world needs it. With that, she disappeared into the forest, moving away from the cave to create false trails for Horizon to follow. June, Mina, and Dr. Sunwoo entered the cave, knowing that sensors would immediately alert Horizon to their presence. They moved quickly through the passages, following the path June had taken months ago when he first discovered the pool. Along the way, they disabled the cameras and sensors they found, but June knew it was only delaying the inevitable. Horizon forces would be converging on the cave. As they went deeper, June felt the nanites in his body growing more active. They seemed to pulse in time with a signal coming from ahead, from the pool. His senses sharpened even further and his awareness expanded. He could feel the entire cave system as if it were an extension of his own body. We're being followed, he said, not needing to look back. 6 agents heavily armed about 3 minutes behind us. And more at the main entrance, Mina added. They're setting up a perimeter. They mean to trap us inside. They reached the final passage leading to the pool chamber. June remembered squeezing through this narrow crack after the cave-in that had separated him from his team. Now he found he could navigate it effortlessly, his enhanced body adapting to the tight space. As they emerged into the chamber, the blue glow of the symbols on the walls brightened, as if recognizing June's presence. The pool in the center pulsed with energy, its light matching the rhythm of the nanites in his body. It's beautiful, Dr. Sunwoo whispered, staring at the glowing symbols. Quickly, Mina urged, moving toward the pool. We don't have much time. June knelt beside the pool, feeling a strange sense of homecoming. The water no longer called to him to drink. Instead, it seemed to invite him to connect, to complete what had begun months ago. What do I do? He asked Mina. Place your hands in the water, she instructed. The pool will recognize the nanites in your body and establish a full connection to the network. June was about to comply when the sound of footsteps echoed from the passage behind them. He turned to see Agent Han step into the chamber, a strange weapon in his hands. Unlike the other agents, he was alone. Step away from the pool, June, Han ordered, aiming the weapon at him. June stood slowly. You don't understand what's happening here, Han. This isn't about weapons or power. It's about communication, connection with something greater than ourselves. I understand more than you think, Han replied. There was something different about him. His movements were jerky, unnatural, and his eyes had a feverish glow. I've experienced the nanites too, remember? But our scientists had to reverse engineer them. The process wasn't as elegant as yours. June could see the truth now. The nanites in Han's body were failing, breaking down his cellular structure instead of enhancing it. The man was dying. It wasn't meant to be done that way, June said softly. The pools were designed for direct integration, not extraction and implantation. So I've learned, Han said with a bitter smile. Too late for me, of course, but not too late for Horizon to control this technology properly. Once we have you, we can study how it's supposed to work. Dr. Sunwoo stepped forward. Agent Han, listen to me. I'm a doctor. I can tell the nanites in your system are destabilizing. Let us help you. The pool might be able to correct the damage. Han's hand wavered slightly. For a moment, hope and desperation warred in his eyes. Then his expression hardened again. "A nice try, Doctor, but I have my orders. June comes with me, along with any research you're carrying. The synthetic being stays here for our cleanup team to study." "Mina is not a thing to be studied," June said, anger rising in him. "And I'm not going anywhere with you." Professor Kang's private laboratory was hidden in the basement of an old industrial building on the outskirts of Seoul. From the outside, it looked abandoned, but inside was a fully equipped research facility. "I've been building this place for years," Professor Kang explained as he led June and Mina through rooms filled with advanced equipment. "Most of my colleagues think I'm crazy spending my own money on this. They'd be even more certain if they knew what I was researching." "Which is?" June asked. "Evidence of non-human intelligence on Earth," Professor Kang said. "Ancient artifacts that show technology too advanced for their time. Unusual energy readings from remote locations. Patterns in myths and legends across cultures that suggest contact with visitors." He smiled. "And now I have living proof walking through my door." They reached a large central room with medical equipment, computers, and what looked like a small apartment area in one corner. "You can stay here safely," Professor Kang said. "This building is shielded against electronic surveillance. No signals get in or out without going through my security systems." Mina walked around the room examining the equipment. "Impressive for current human technology," she said. "But will it be enough to hide June's energy signature from Horizon?" Professor Kang looked thoughtful. "That depends on what they're detecting. If you can describe the energy, I might be able to build a shield for it." Over the next few days, Professor Kang ran tests on June while Mina explained what she knew about the nanites. They discovered that the nanites produced a unique electromagnetic field that was likely what Horizon could detect. Professor Kang worked day and night to create a shielding device that would hide this signature. While the professor worked, June met the small team of trusted researchers who helped run the lab. There was Dr. Sunwoo, a specialist in nanotechnology who nearly fainted with excitement when she learned about the nanites in June's body. Tae was a former military officer who now handled security for the lab. And Hana was a journalist who documented the professor's work, though she had never published any of it. "The world isn't ready yet," Hana explained when June asked why she kept such amazing discoveries secret. "People fear what they don't understand. But someday, when we have enough evidence and the right approach, we'll share everything." June liked these people. They were intelligent, open-minded, and genuinely excited about the possibilities his transformation represented. For the first time since drinking from the pool, he felt like he was among people who saw him as more than just a test subject or a weapon. One evening, as June was helping Dr. Sunwoo analyze blood samples, Professor Kang called everyone to the main lab. On a large table sat what looked like a metal bracelet. "I believe this will work," Professor Kang said, picking up the device. "It creates a counterfield that should mask the energy signature of the nanites." "June, would you like to try it?" June nodded and held out his wrist. The professor fastened the bracelet around it. Immediately, June felt a slight tingling sensation where the device touched his skin. "How does it feel?" Dr. Sunwoo asked, monitoring readings on a nearby computer. "Strange, but not unpleasant," June replied. "It's like the nanites are responding to it, adjusting to the new field." Mina stepped closer, studying the bracelet. "The energy pattern has changed," she said. "It's still there, but masked, distorted." Professor Kang looked pleased. "Then it's working. Horizon's detectors should have difficulty finding you now, but this is just the beginning. I've been thinking about what you've told me, about the architects and their intentions for humanity." He walked to a large screen on the wall and brought up images of ancient artifacts and cave paintings. "These all show similar patterns," he said. "Figures coming from the sky, sharing knowledge with humans. They span cultures and time periods that had no contact with each other. I've always believed they depicted the same event, visitors from another world." "The architects," Mina confirmed. "They visited many times over thousands of years, watching humanity develop. And they left more than just the pool you found," Professor Kang continued. "According to my research, there could be dozens of similar sites around the world. Places where they left technology or knowledge for humans to find when they were ready." June felt a chill run down his spine. "Are you saying there could be more people like me? Others who found pools and drank from them?" Professor Kang shrugged. "Possibly. Or people who found other gifts left by the architects. But that's not my main point. He turned to face June directly. The nanites in your body aren't just enhancing you physically. According to our tests, they're gradually changing your brain structure, creating new neural pathways. For what purpose? June asked, feeling uneasy. It was Mina who answered. To prepare you for communication, she said. The architects left more than just technology. They left a message, one that can only be received by a properly prepared mind. A heavy silence fell over the room. Finally, Tay spoke up. So June is becoming what? Some kind of receiver for alien messages? More like a bridge, Mina said. A living connection between humanity and the architects. This was always their plan, to find species with potential and help them join the wider community of intelligent life. Hana looked excited. This is incredible. The story of the century. A story we need to be careful with, Professor Kang cautioned. If Horizon learns about this aspect of June's transformation, they'll want to control the communication, use it for their own purposes. So what do we do? June asked. We continue our research, Professor Kang said. We help you complete the transformation safely, understand what you're becoming, and we prepare to protect you from those who would misuse this gift. The meeting continued late into the night as they discussed plans and possibilities. June felt both excited and frightened by what he was learning. He was becoming more than just an enhanced human. He was becoming a link between his species and an advanced alien civilization. When the meeting finally ended, June couldn't sleep. He went to the lab's roof, where a small garden had been planted. The night air was cool and the stars shone brightly overhead. He wondered if the architects were out there somewhere, waiting for him to be ready to receive their message. He heard the roof door open and turned to see Hana joining him. Couldn't sleep either? She asked. June shook his head. Too much to think about. Hana leaned on the railing next to him. I can't imagine what this is like for you. One day you're a normal graduate student. The next you're humanity's ambassador to the stars. I didn't ask for this, June said quietly. The best people for important jobs rarely do, Hana replied. That's why they're chosen, because they don't seek power for its own sake. They stood in comfortable silence for a while, looking at the stars. Professor Kang has been waiting his whole life for this, Hana finally said, searching for proof that we're not alone in the universe. You've given him that proof. I just hope it doesn't get him killed, June said. Horizon isn't going to give up looking for me. Hana's expression grew serious. No, they won't, but you're not alone anymore. We'll protect you. The next morning, June woke to find the lab in a state of excited activity. Dr. Sunwoo was running from computer to computer, checking readings, while Professor Kang and Mina huddled over a strange device in the center of the room. What's happening? June asked. A breakthrough, Professor Kang said, looking up with bright eyes. We've been analyzing the energy patterns of the nanites in your body, and we discovered something extraordinary. They emit pulses in a specific pattern, a pattern that matches radio signals I detected years ago coming from deep space. The architects, Mina confirmed. They maintain a network across the galaxy. The nanites in your body are attempting to connect to it. June approached the device they were working on. It looked like a small satellite dish connected to a computer. What is this? An amplifier, Professor Kang explained. If our theory is correct, it will strengthen the connection between your nanites and the architect network. It might speed up your transformation. Is that safe? June asked, looking at Mina. She hesitated before answering. There is risk. The transformation was meant to happen gradually, over months. Accelerating it could put strain on your system. But it might also help us understand the process better, Dr. Sunwoo added. And if Horizon is getting close, having you reach your full potential sooner rather than later could be an advantage. June considered this. He didn't like the idea of rushing the process, but the threat of Horizon loomed large. If they captured him before he understood what he was becoming, all could be lost. Let's try it, he decided. They set up the equipment with June sitting in a chair at the center. The amplifier was positioned nearby, aimed at him. Dr. Sunwoo attached sensors to his body to monitor his vital signs. Ready? Professor Kang asked, his finger hovering over the activation switch. June took a deep breath and nodded. Ready? The professor flipped the switch. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then June felt a warm sensation spreading through his body, starting at his core and moving outward. It wasn't painful, but it was intense, like being filled with light. His neural activity is spiking, Dr. Sunwoo reported, watching the monitors. Heart rate elevated but stable. body temperature rising slightly.